Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti. We focus on spirituality, Vedanta, and Sanatana Dharma. Please subscribe our channel for the mystical meanings of the scriptures and daily satsang. Our humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, our worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji Maharaj, all sages in scriptures, and to the divinity in each of you. We are currently exploring the scripture Mysticism of Mahabharata. Commentary is by Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda ji and narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. And we are currently on the Karna Parva. And in today's episode, we will study the destruction of Karna. During the afternoon of the 17th day, Krishna and Arjuna finally came in direct confrontation with Karna. The fight raged with great intensity, and numerous weapons presided by deities were employed. Although Karna again and again demonstrated his terrible power, it was apparent that the divine plan was operating in favor of his defeat. On one occasion, Karna discharged a weapon presided by a spirit that appears like a great black snake with terrible venom. Seeing that powerful weapon flying towards Arjuna, Krishna pulled on the reins in such a way that the horses had to kneel down, causing the chariot to sink lower to the ground. As a result, that weapon knocked off the crown of Arjuna instead of his head, and Arjuna escaped death once more due to the divine intervention of Krishna. As the time for the destruction of Karna drew near, two curses that he had received during his life became effective. First, the wheel of his chariot became stuck in the ground due to a curse that Karna had once received from a Brahman. According to the story, when Karna was leaning and learning how to use his special celestial weapons, he inadvertently killed a calf that belonged to a Brahman. Seeing his calf dead, the Brahman cursed Karna, saying that one day in battle the wheel of his chariot would get stuck in the earth and that would bring about his death. Thus, with Arjuna waiting to slay him, Karna had to descend from the chariot and attempt to free the wheel. At this time, Karna realized that the curse he had been given by sage Parshuram in the Adi Parva had also taken effect, and as a result, all the knowledge of how to use his divine weapons had completely fled from his memory. Therefore, Karna stood on the ground without weapons, pleading with Arjuna to allow him time to regain the use of his chariot. Guided by his Kshatriya ethics, Arjuna was ready to acquiesce. However, Krishna spoke up and reminded Karna of all the unrighteous deeds he had committed and urged Arjuna to discharge his arrows. Hearing these words of Krishna, Karna was ashamed but continued valiantly to fight on foot until Arjuna at last discharged a special arrow known as Anjalika, which cut off the head of Karna and brought this mighty warrior to an end. Immediately after the death of Karna, the chariot wheel strangely returned to its normal position, and Shalya drove the chariot back to the Kaurva camp. There he revealed the news about the death of Karna to the despondent Duryodhana, who realized that his dreams of power and glory were over forever. In its presentation of the details of Karna's life and death, the Mahabharata teaches us that no matter how powerful a person may be, if his power is backed up by anger, violence, pride, egoism, then he will eventually be deprived of his great achievements. Karna had tremendous power and was indeed a formidable obstacle to the victory of the Pandavas. However, his power became limited because he was using it in support of Duryodhana and the selfish goals of the Kauravas. As the as it was previously explained, Karna in the Mahabharata represents the ego principle that has become conditioned by the mental process. So unless we understand the mystical meanings of these deep stories, we will simply read them as stories and whatever has been said in the history books, itihasas. But to understand the depth can only come from an enlightened sage like Swamiji, Swami Jyotirmayananda ji, through his intuitive analysis and experience. And that is why it is important to read these sages, um, genuine, authentic sages like enlightened sages like Swamiji, because when we just read history books or just written by any professor, it may not have that spiritual touch that is needed for us to proceed and make progress on the path of liberation or mukti. So, tainted by the I-ness and mindness, that ego principle plays the role of ahankara or egoism. And that is why this journey is so um, important, that we never forget to be humble, because this ego plays its tricks in so many ways. Such a conditioned or impure ego has to be set aside before liberation can be attained, as Swamiji says very clearly, that ego has to be totally purified. Like Karna, the ego in us has immense power, but its power becomes limited when it is backed up in an uncultured manner and an impure mind. Once it is backed up by a purified mind, its power is infinite. Then the ego in us melts away, revealing our essential nature as the self. We realize, I am that, and we become universal. And that is the goal that we are all humbly working on. While showing how the divine plan ultimately restricts the power of demoniac forces, the Mahabharata simultaneously emphasizes how God supports those who are in harmony with goodness and righteousness. Even though virtuous personalities like the Pandavas must encounter great adversities in life, those adversities invariably become a means to prosperity. Therefore, always follow the path of truth, righteousness, ethical principles. Knowing this, one should not judge the various situations that arise in life by how they appear at the moment. Developments that appear negative may eventually lead to the unfoldment of great joy. Things that appear so charming and glittering may become repugnant as time passes on. Therefore, one must learn to endure the apparent adversities in life and develop great faith in the divine hand that compassionately leads everyone onward to victory. So, this is Swami Nikhilanand, and we will continue this beautiful journey in tomorrow's satsang. Jai Shri Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.